24 hours.
Yes, I felt comfortable with him at the time.
Evidently, you had bad judgment.
And his new connection hopes for a reboot.
He served jail time for domestic violence. What makes you think that you're going to be any different?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
24-year-old April Krenke is suing her ex-boyfriend, Tyler Milligan, for the unpaid balance on a truck he forced her to co-sign for.
Order. All rise. It's case number 105 on the calendar, the matter of Krenke versus Milligan.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Krenke, this is your case. You allege that sometime in February of this year, you met the defendant online. You met him online. He came. You had your first meeting in person on February 20th. You liked him. You lived with your one-year-old daughter, and he stayed the night. You claim the next day he kidnapped you and forced you to co-sign for a truck that he wanted. And you did co-sign for the truck, according to you. While you didn't see him again, you kept in touch with him because you were hoping that he'd make, because your name is a co-signatory on a loan.
That is not entirely correct, Your Honor.
Well, then let's have it. Did you meet him on February 20th?
I met him on February 20th.
And he came to your house?
Yes, ma'am. He came to my house.
And he spent the night?
And he spent the night, yes.
And
then from there, we decided that I knew I'd have to bring him back to his house, so I'd bring him back to his house the next day, and I would stay the night because I had to work the following day.
So the next night, you were going to stay at his house?
Yes, ma'am.
With your daughter?
Yes.
Now, this is somebody that you know for 24 hours?
Yes, I felt comfortable with him at the time, and
Evidently, you had bad judgment, and you took your year-old daughter with you.
I also have my witness here that was with me on the very first day when Tyler came to my house, and then she was also there the following night when I did go back to his house when he chose to get vulgar with me and aggressive.
Oh.
And she has a restraining order on him also as well. As far as like the vulgar and the aggressiveness.
Just a second. Can I see a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Milligan, how old are you, sir?
26, ma'am.
How many times have you been arrested?
4 times, ma'am.
Last time was when?
I was just released on June 8th of this year.
What was your conviction?
Restriction of a 911 call in domestic.
As a result of domestic abuse?
Just 2.
And you're 26 years old.
Yes,
Was it
ma'am.
with the same woman or different women?
Different.
How long was the last time that you spent in jail?
39 days was the longest I've ever spent.
Did any judge ever direct you to anger management?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever have to pay a fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the plaintiff says that the witness who's sitting here to her right has a restraining order against you. Do you know who she is?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a hearing on that restraining order?
No,
Have
ma'am.
you been to court? Have you been to court?
No, ma'am, I have not.
So she got this restraining order on her own without you?
Yes.
Were you served with the restraining order?
Yes.
Do you have a return date for that restraining order?
No, ma'am.
Did you default in appearance
No,
on
ma'am.
that? Well, when is the return date?
I have no idea.
Well, you were served with it.
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan, when you're served with a restraining order, it's a temporary restraining order because it's given to you what they call ex parte, which means only the witness, whoever it is, goes in and asks for it, and you are entitled to have a hearing on it. They gives you a return date. You don't know what that return date is?
No, ma'am.
What's the return date?
It was 20 days after the fact of that he could have gone to court. Otherwise,
Did you get a default judgment?
yep.
Did you go? Not yep.
I did not have to go to court. They just automatically signed the restraining
May
order.
I see it? Were you dating him?
At one point, him and I did date.
Just a
yes.
second. So this is when you were dating?
No, we were roommates. So
But
we
you
had,
dated. You
we
had,
had dated,
you had an
yes.
intimate, and now you're her roommate?
Nope, I don't live with her. Her and I are friends now.
Okay,
I live
sit
up
down.
with my boyfriend.
Sit down. Sit. You filed this report about a week later.
He knew where I lived.
Shh. You filed this report about a week later, February 28th. You spoke to the police officer. Why didn't you want to pursue any charges against the defendant?
I was scared for my safety and my daughter's safety. He does know where I live, and I was afraid of the retaliation that he...
Did you make an application to any court for a protective order?
I did not at the time.
At any time?
I have not.
Where's the truck?
It's sitting at Porter Service.
What is it doing there?
Waiting to be fixed. The wheel bearing had went out previously, and also the brakes. Once I got served the paperwork, I still work in the process of working on it. I've got parts en route to fix it. After I got served with the paperwork, after reading what was served to me when I was incarcerated.
Why did you think that she co-signed for this vehicle for you?
So that way I could come back and forth to see her.
Days, what is wrong with you?
Nothing, man. We were previously talking about it. So when she came down to the house, we set up a negotiation about it.
There's no negotiation. I don't understand you. Who was that?
That's my wife.
"26 years old, and he's had 2 protective orders in domestic violence cases and served jail time for domestic violence. What makes you think that you're going to be any different?"
I don't. I just trust him. I don't. I just trust him.
You trust him?
Yes.
You think all these people are crazy? You think all these women are crazy?
No.
How much was this truck?
Altogether, $9 grand. That's with tax, title, and license.
In whose name is the truck?
Hers.
Whose?
April's.
Is the truck in your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Go get it.
Go
get it.
I'm actually filing for the
Go get it.
$5,000 amount.
I don't care what you're suing for.
Because I don't want the truck. It's broken.
I'm telling you, go get the truck.
It's broken.
I'm telling you, go get the truck. I'm telling you to go get the truck. I will prepare the order. Now you know where it is. She's going to get the truck. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you interfere with that, she's going to have and she can't say, well, they don't understand him, you know, and I trust him, because everybody trusts me. She's going to get the truck, and then she's going to sell it. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
If I may add, I do have receipts for 2 parts that I have bought previously.
I don't give a rat's behind what you have receipts for. She's going to get the truck, and she's going to sell it, and hopefully get a lot more than $5,000. It's her truck, and she's going to get it. Do we understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Give me the name of the place where it's currently sitting.
Porter Service.
Very good. We'll contact them and let them know that they're not to release it to you. Got it?
Yes. If I
Perfect.
can get my belongings out of there, that would be great.
No, you can't go near the truck.
Also,
You can't go near the truck. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect.
ma'am, what about like the towing fees, because the truck is broke down right now? Like, if the truck has to be towed from where it's at currently now?
I don't deal in ifs. I'm giving you the truck back that was $9,000.
What about the damage?
You're suing him for $5,000. He just bought the truck in February. You're going to be able to sell it for more than $5,000. I would even invest a couple of bucks in fixing it if I were you, so you can sell it or keep it. Go get the truck. It's yours.
Yes, sir.
He's not going to touch it.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Step out.
I have absolutely no feelings towards him. I have never had any feelings for him.
But just to go see each other so that way we can still date and stuff. But
He is manipulative, vulgar, and just horrible of a person.
she wasn't looking for what I was, and so moved on to bigger and better things.
I feel bad for his new wife, to be completely honest. I am not jealous of her
She was just looking for a hookup, and I wanted marriage and settled down, and here we are.
by any means. I am just completely sorry for her and for her new man.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dilla versus Waldrop. Step forward.
Andrew Dilla and his son, 20-year-old Justin, are suing Justin's former friend, 20-year-old Michaela Waldrop, for vehicle expenses and the removal of Justin's name from a title.
Mr. Dilly, you're his father.
Correct.
How old are you?
20.
You have a job.
Yes.
And who do you work for?
Chipotle?
You've been working there for a while?
Yeah, a little over a year.
What do you do?
I'm a kitchen manager.
You have a salary check,
No, it's by the hour.
but you get paid.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be yes. And what do you do?
I just got recently hired as a cashier.
And before that, what did you do?
I was a cashier at Chipotle.
That's how you met each other. And you dated for a while. Terrific. And you wanted a car.
Yes.
And you had saved up for a down payment.
Total?
How much did you put down on the car?
$2,600 in total.
Instead of buying, you know, a car for $2,600, you wanted a new car, newish car. And you couldn't get any credit.
Yes.
So this 20-year-old, because he didn't work for the same place, some bank said, okay, if you co-sign for her, now I've got 2 people on the hook. We'll give her the loan.
Yes.
And the car is in whose name?
It's in both of our names.
And you were dating at the time?
Yes.
Can I see the title?
Your Honor,
What?
the title's not available because it's still being financed.
I want to see the title to the car. Somebody should have a title that says lien on it.
Oh, we have the refinance papers.
I just need a title that says lien on it.
This is the original title from Exeter Finance.
All right, so nobody has a title.
The finance company has the title.
Great. How much is left on the loan?
$10,285 last time I checked.
And who has the car? You do.
I do.
Great. And neither of you are going to be let off this loan because that would be stupid of the loan company because now they have two people to go against, right?
Right.
And you have the car. What do you want me to do?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You were the dumb one who let to town it because they found drug paraphernalia in the car. Does anybody have a police report for me to look at? I'd like to take a look at it.
Your
Put your
Honor.
hand down.
Oh, sorry.
Put your hand down.
Okay.
Listen, you can't help it if you raise stupid.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Justin Dilla says former friend Michaela Waldrop owes for damage and impound fees for a car he co-signed for.
Bottom line was you had the car, you broke up. According to him, you lent the car to somebody,
Yes.
and that was a friend of yours, and they got pulled over for some sort of drug infraction, and the police went through the car, took it all apart looking for drugs. What's the name of the genius who you lent the car to?
The friend is Izzy, and actually, the car was reported stolen.
Well, if it was reported stolen, they wouldn't have torn it apart looking for drugs. Was there drug paraphernalia found in the car?
Not to my awareness, no.
Not to your knowledge?
Yes.
Not that you are aware of?
Yes.
Right. On what date was the car loaned to your friend?
February 12th.
And you had had the car for about a month at that
Yes.
time. And you had already broken up with him.
No, we were still together up until February.
Well, February 12th, when you loaned the car to the friend,
Yes.
what was the friend supposed to do with the car?
He was going to go get food and run to his house. I had constant location.
Food.
Yes.
All right. And who was he with?
He was with his friend.
He was
who
with
actually
another-
I knew him too.
He was with another friend. And on February 12th, were you and Mr. Dallas still a couple?
No.
When had you broken up?
Yes.
When had you broken up?
Sorry. Around February 2nd.
Who went to get the car from impound? Does anybody have a police report for me to look at? I'd like to take a look at it.
Your
Put your
Honor.
hand down.
Oh, sorry.
Put your
Okay.
hand down.
Okay.
Listen, you can't help it if you raise stupid.
I have the receipts right here from the getting it out of impound.
I want to see a police report.
Oh, we weren't able to get a police report unless we had a subpoena for it.
Let me see the date of impound. You picked up the car from impound?
Correct.
And you have the car?
Correct.
And you're paying for the car?
Correct.
Actually, I paid for April.
Who cares? You were the dumb one who led to friends who got pulled over, and the car was impounded because they found drug paraphernalia in the car. So I don't care if you paid April. What do you want?
If I were
You
to...
got stuck. You got stuck.
Yeah.
With paying for the car. Are you driving it?
No, I'm not.
Is it insured?
It's the registration.
Is it insured?
No, it's
now?
not.
Well, you know you have to have it insured by the loan company.
Okay.
Just what do you mean, okay? Is the car insured?
Car is not insured, never was insured. Off the lot.
Listen, that's stupid's fault.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you loaned the car to these two idiots,
Yes.
did it have damage on it?
Yeah.
Did it have damage on it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Justin Dilla says former friend Michaela Waldrop owes for damage and impound fees for a car he co-signed for.
Is the car insured?
Car is not insured, never was insured, and the defendant did not insure the car once she took it off the lot.
Listen, that's stupid's fault.
Right. We were trying to sell the car. We wanted to get monies to be able to pay off the loan and fix the damage that are currently on the car. The car has currently damages on it worth about $5,000.
I'd like to see the damage to the car. Now, unless you can explain to me how the car got damaged.
I was aware
The 12th, you loaned the car to two people, and on February 14th, the plaintiff got the car out of impound by the police.
Yes.
Now, when you loaned the car to these two idiots,
Yes.
did it have damage on it?
Yeah.
Did it have damage on it?
Yes.
What kind of damage did it have on
The
it?
mirror was missing and the back tail light was broken.
How did that happen?
Honestly, I don't know, because woke up one morning, went out to my driveway and saw it was like that. I thought someone came and actually...
On what date did you find the mirror broken and the taillight damaged?
January 26th.
So on January the 26th, according to you, you and the plaintiff was still a couple because you said you were still a couple in February. That's what you told me a while ago.
Yes.
So while the car was in your possession, it had a missing mirror and a broken taillight.
Yes.
But it didn't have all this other damage.
Not that I know.
Not when you loaned it to
Yes.
your two friends.
Yeah.
So it didn't have all this damage.
No.
Is this the way you retrieved the car from impound?
Yes. And
Who was there with you when you took it out of impound?
my dad.
You were there?
Yes.
When the car came out?
That day.
And that's the way it looked?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Do you have an estimate on how much it will cost to fix that car?
I was given a
No. The answer is either yes or no.
verbal, so
Well, you can't tell me what somebody else told you.
then no.
Well, I need an estimate because she's responsible for that. You know, she's an idiot and she's not going to pay for this car and she's not going to get it back because she's totally irresponsible. But the two of you were on the title to the car.
Correct.
The car was damaged. If you have to sell it, which you clearly do, you have to sell it, and in order to sell it, it has to be repaired. And if I don't have an estimate, I'm going to have to back this up a different way. Bird, would you look up the Blue Book value of a 2015 Mazda 3 Sport?
$10,056.
Well, most of the loan is remaining, and what you're asking for actually is $3,259, which I assume is the money that you have so far invested in the car, making the payments, so that it wouldn't be less than what you can get if you sold it. And based upon that, you couldn't get anywhere near $10,000 if you had to sell the car this way. You have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
It's dismissed. If you can't afford a car, don't buy it.
Actually, I was not allowed to make the first car payment.
If you can't afford a car, don't buy it.
Oh, I was able to afford it.
No, you couldn't afford it because the credit score that you had was insufficient for a $10,000 loan. So you couldn't. And then once you had it, and since you really weren't on the hook for it yourself and you had no job, because at the time you lost your job, you were in between jobs.
Yes.
Yes. And you lent it to some people who were probably using it to sell, transport, do whatever they were doing with drugs. In any event, there was paraphernalia found in the car. $3,200. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done here. By the way, we're withholding your money until you sign over the title to him. Thank you. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I didn't directly report it stolen. All I said is I did not give anyone permission
Because my friend let Justin know he was driving the car.
to drive the car because I was unknowing of what she had done with the car.
And Justin did not like that friend very well, so he reported it stolen.
She got fired for no call, no shows
And I needed these.
due to her letting them use the car.
I get my car back and they accept my refinancing.
I was young and dumb. Don't co-sign for a significant other.
And I could do it today. If not, then car's yours.
Buy your own car if you can afford it.
Did her new tenant have a secret past?
You found out that he had a more serious criminal history.
She knew my criminal history before I even moved in.
You were released from prison 2 years before.
Now she's terrified about today.
Did you post this?
Yes, I did.
Considering your history, I wouldn't have put this up for a millisecond. This is pretty dumb.
This is Judge Judy.
Craig Deal is suing his former landlord, Jennifer Zachrison, for the return of rent and security deposit, hotel costs, and an illegal lockout.
Order. All rise. It's case number 166 on the calendar, the matter of Ville versus Zackerson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. Zackerson, I'm going to start with you. It appears that you have a large home, or did, and that sometime in October of 2018, you made a decision on your house. You put an ad in the paper or in Craigslist or something. What did you do?
Facebook.
Do you have a copy of that ad?
I sure do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Oh, bird.
You okay?
I thought I was going blind. It's not that I'm going blind.
It's a
It's just
little
that I haven't cleaned my glasses and probably... Perfect. Ah, right. Okay. 2 rooms for rent in a beautiful house, $300 deposit, 2 years consistent work history. Rent is $300 due on the 1st and the 15th. Bathroom, all utilities, laundry, about us. Mom works for a tech company. We work hard, so we play hard. You have a 16-year-old son. And then you said about you looking for someone who travels and needs a room occasionally. So you were looking for somebody to pay you a full month's rent, but only use it part-time. If I'm
I was kind of weird about sharing my bathroom with strangers.
You're asking for somebody to pay a month's rent for a room and a bath, but who works a lot and doesn't spend much time there. Okay, well, that's nice work if you can get it.
Short term.
And it really actually doesn't make any difference because once they sign a lease, they can be there as many days as they want.
Sure.
In any event, the plaintiff answered your ad. In what month?
28th, and he moved in December 1st.
And he paid you when he moved in or before?
He paid me 2 days before.
And what did he give you?
He gave me $300 deposit.
As you requested?
Yes.
And then?
And then he also gave me $600 in advance, or first month's, and $600 for last month's.
So he gave you first and last.
Right, and I wasn't actually going to take that. However,
I don't care whether you were going to take it or not going to take it. You took it.
Yep, I did. Yep.
So you got first and last rent. So he's paid for December.
Yes.
And a deposit.
Yes.
And on what date did he move out?
He moved out on May 15th.
In the middle of the month?
Yes.
At your request?
Yes.
That would be a yes or no?
Yes, it was.
That's a yes.
Yep.
Had he paid May's rent?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a yes.
Yes, he did.
Had he paid April's rent?
Yes, and he also paid for June. So this is, he moved out 6 weeks prior.
Just a second.
Okay, sorry. I didn't want you to forget June.
So from December 1st, when he moved in, until May 1st, he was consistent in paying you his $600 a month rent.
Correct.
Did he sign a lease?
He did.
I'd like to take a look at it.
This is the original.
Do you have a copy of your lease, Mr. Vale?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Is that how you pronounce your name?
Veal.
Veal. So he was actually paid until June the 30th, 2019.
Yes. Yep.
Because that was the end of the term of the lease.
Yes.
Well, one lease is different from the other.
Really?
Really? Is this the lease you gave me?
No, ma'am.
That's mine.
That's yours. And is this the lease that you gave me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the lease that the plaintiff gave me, it says no alcohol on the premises.
True.
If any legal issues arise, you will be asked to leave the property within 24 hours.
Yep. And?
That's a yes. Well, that's what his says.
Okay.
And this copy is yours, which says no alcohol on premises. No women, no sleepovers. After that, if any legal issues arise, you will be asked to leave the premises. Well, so either one of two things happen. Uncross your arms. Either someone whited out no women, no sleepovers, because his doesn't have it, or someone added and made a copy and put in no women, no sleepovers.
That's the original lease, ma'am.
It's not true, Your Honor.
No, this is not the original lease. This is a copy. Uncross your arms.
Oh.
This is a copy.
I apologize. Well,
this is a copy of the original lease.
Can I see what you have?
Absolutely.
Please.
Your Honor, mine was that.
No. Yep.
Just a second.
So if you notice the coffee stains on top.
No, listen to me. Don't show me coffee stains.
Okay, sorry.
Either somebody whited out no women, no sleepovers, or somebody added it because they're both copies. So somebody has to have the original. Now, you're the landlord.
Yes. This is.
So it would seem to me that you have an original.
Well, this is what we signed actually physically on the table.
Listen to me carefully. You sound like an intelligent woman. Whoever wrote that ad is an intelligent person. Either one of two things happened. Either the plaintiff whited out and then copied no women, no overnights, or you added, because I assume that's your handwriting.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Or somebody added those words and then copied it, because that's a copy and this is a copy. Do you understand what I said? Don't try to tell me about coffee stains. I'm not interested in coffee stains unless you have the original lease. Do you have the original lease?
This is, so I had surgery, so I had just gotten out of surgery 6 days prior, and I bought this paper right here. And this is what we signed.
Hey.
This is what I would...
You're an intelligent woman. You wrote an intelligent ad. You know exactly what I'm saying to you. Exactly what I'm saying to you. Okay, now let's move on. Right now, we have a tenant who signed the lease, who's paid up for the term of the lease from December 1st until June 30th. And you've accepted his rent from September 1st until June 30th. And on May 15th, or prior to the termination of his lease, you told him to move.
Well, I had
not a well. That's either a yes, which you told me before, you told him to leave. Now, what he wants are damages and his rent back and his security back. Now, what I want you to tell me is, since I am not satisfied that those words existed, no women in the house and no overnights existed in the original lease, since I'm not satisfied. I don't know whether they did or whether they didn't. So I am not going to find as an excuse for telling him to leave that he had a woman in the house. I want you to tell me why you told him to leave prior to the termination of his lease.
Because I was almost hit on my... because I was coming home.
Look here, stop chattering, put down the paper, and tell me why you told him to leave.
Because I was almost hitting my driveway. I just got a protective order for 10 years against...
Not true, Your Honor.
I read your answer. I'm not interested in your protective order. I read your reason for filing a protective order, and as far as I'm concerned, it was invalid.
Okay.
Because he didn't do anything to you. According to you, it said you found out about his history, you told him to move, and you were frightened. That's what you say in your answer.
So,
shh, listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to your inside voices. Listen to me. You found out that he had a more serious criminal history than you thought, and so you filed for a protective order against him, and probably, did you appear at that protective order?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you have an attorney?
No, I did not.
Did you consent to the protective order?
I don't quite know what that means.
Did you have a trial?
No.
Just a second. Well, either you consent to the protective order or you have a trial. Did you have a trial on the return date of the temporary protective order? You had a trial. Who testified?
No.
Who testified?
Nobody testified.
Well, if nobody testified, then you didn't have a trial.
Okay.
So either one of two things happened. Either the judge issued a protective order based upon the plaintiff's prior history and your fear, or you had a trial. Either one of two things. So I want you to tell me how that happened, sir.
Your Honor, I showed up it was a hearing, I guess, basically. They asked me what I had to say about this, and basically all of it was not true. It was all lies, all made up.
I'd like to see the protective order that she filed against you.
It's right here. It's 40 pages long. Your Honor, I'd like to say she knew my criminal history before I even moved in.
No, I understand that.
No.
I understand that you were, according to you, released from prison 2 years before.
Yes.
Okay, got that. I'm just looking for what she filed. I want to see what you filed.
Oh, here's the...
Here, I have what I have that, Your Honor.
This is my copy of the finishing after the hearing.
This is the...
Hold on. Oh, I see.
Your Honor, my house was broken into, and I can't prove what it was correct, but it was his room.
Then I don't want to hear about it.
It was his room that was broken into.
Then I don't want to hear about it. Would you show this to the defendant and ask her if this is what she filed to get a protective order? Go over the last few pages.
Yep.
I was just asking you a question.
This is
Your Honor, here's the original.
Just a second. I asked you a question. Is that what you filed in order to get a protective order?
I filed this. Yes, ma'am.
May I see it now? Did you file that picture as well? Is what I'm asking you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you post this, Mr. Veal?
It went for 24 hours. It was a long time ago, yes. Yes, I did. I forgot that I even did that.
What I'm asking you is, in 2018, do you need some time to relax? I want to tell you something. This person is not moved by tears. If you want to recall this case and compose yourself, let's do that. Outside, compose yourself and come back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Considering your history, I wouldn't have put this up for a millisecond. If you want some woman to think that you're hot as a pistol, there are other things that you could post instead of this.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Craig Veal says his former landlord, Jennifer Zachrison, illegally locked him out. Jennifer's countersuing for property damage and harassment.
Mr. Veal.
Yes.
Answer to, in what year did you post this picture, hot as a pistol?
I'm thinking 2018, but I can't remember the exact date.
And what I'm telling you, Mr. Veal, is considering your history, I wouldn't have put this up for a millisecond. If you want some woman to think that you're hot as a pistol, there are other things that you could post instead of this. This is pretty dumb. Got it?
I agree.
Okay. Now, then we go back to here in the reasons that you told the judge that you were filing for this protective order, and you filed a protective order, and you accepted rent in December. That's a yes. January, yes. February, yes. March, yes. April, yes. May, yes. All of these things, you were referring to things that happened with him well before May 1st. Some things after, but well before May 1st. So you accepted rent, and he continued to be a tenant. Between December 1st and May 1st, had you ever told the plaintiff to leave the house?
Yes.
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
When?
In April.
In April?
In April, yep.
Just a second.
We talked about you moving out.
I don't want to... I'm going to ask questions. You're going to answer them. Tell me.
Unexpectedly, and Craig had another female. So one of the reasons women in my house, he was luring women from Facebook, and his new girlfriend just recently died. He just got out of prison for murder.
I want you to pay attention and answer my questions. I'm not going to ask you about your history, madam. I'm only interested in facts.
Yep.
Now, in April, you had a discussion with him about leaving because you came home and there was a woman in the house.
Yep. And
now, yep.
Yes,
Listen,
yes, ma'am.
Yes is the answer.
Yes.
Okay. What was happening when you walked into the house? How did you see this woman?
Her car was in my driveway, and I asked Craig.
Car, just a minute.
Yep.
Her car was in your driveway.
Yep. Or a blue.
Just a sec. You're not paying attention.
Okay.
Car was in your driveway. What time? Morning, afternoon, or evening?
It was in the early afternoon.
And you went into your house. Did you see the woman?
No, Craig had her hidden in his bedroom.
The answer is no. She was in his bedroom that he paid for.
Sure. But was in the lease that he's not allowed to have women over.
That is not true, madam. No, that is not true. I've already found that I am not making a judgment with regard to whether your lease excluded or did not exclude women from the house, because either somebody whited it out or somebody added it in and then copied it. So, forensic expert, and I assume neither of these people are either.
Well, why would the whole light? Can I see the lease? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. You can see his copy.
Absolutely.
And your copy. And then you'll see what I mean when I said somebody either added it or whited it out.
So why is the whole why is the whole line, the top line, missing?
Listen to me. They're two separate sentences. One says no alcohol on the premises, and the next one says if there's any violation of the lease.
This is the lease that we signed together, and he was made a copy a week later.
No,
he took
I was
a picture.
not, Your Honor.
He took a picture.
Do you understand what I just said to you?
Yes, ma'am, I know. But I just want to make sure that you know.
Then you're beating a dead horse.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So on that date in April, what did you tell him?
I told him I wasn't comfortable with him having strange women in my house, and it was something that we agreed to on the lease, verbally and on the lease.
No, you can't agree to it verbally when you have a lease.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Craig Veal claims former landlord Jennifer Zackerson illegally
was in his bedroom. And when did you have the conversation with him? Was it on that date or a subsequent date?
That date as well as after.
So on that date in April, what did you tell him?
I told him I wasn't comfortable with him having strange women in my house. We had one bathroom. It wasn't, and it was something that we agreed to on the lease.
Just
verbally and on the lease.
No, you can't agree to it verbally when you have a lease.
I have it in text.
Listen to me.
He admitted it. He acknowledges no women should be in the house.
I'd like to. I'd like to see.
Thank you.
That I'd like to see.
Thanks.
It was never discussed, Your Honor.
Stop. Listen to me. Speak, unless I ask you a question.
Okay, right here. This is what I sent to him on May 30th, and
May 30th.
Yes, after he was evicted, he texted me and wanted money.
Shh, just a second. After he was evicted and he had paid rent through June, he sent you a text wanting money back.
Right.
Now I'd like to read it. And then you say there, he acknowledges that the lease said he could not have women in the house.
Yes.
Well, I see what you're writing him.
Yeah, but he's right. You can just scroll down to the bottom. You can just see that.
Admit that that's what the lease says?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, all he says was nothing that you just talked about in a very long email to him has anything to do with you owing me money. And then you said it absolutely does. You didn't abide by the Brenton agreement and broke your lease when you decided to bring strangers into my home.
Luring women from Facebook and Tinder.
Just a second. And he says to you, you better look at the lease again.
Yep.
Just a second. And he says, I've already retained an attorney and will sue it if you do not honor our verbal and legal agreement. All perfectly right. Okay, you have to pay him, Bird, give that back to her. You have to pay him his money. You have to pay him his $300 deposit. You have to pay him the month of June, which is $600. You have to pay him the month of May, which is $600. So far, that's $0, $1,200, $1,500.
Correct. And then also, he also stored his whole entire house into my garage. So before he moved in on November 28th, I sent him a text that says, hey, Craig.
Just a second. I'm finished with her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm finished with her. Judgment for the plaintiff and the amount due.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A roommate is reminded of his debts.
He bought a new car right after I helped him.
She says she gave you $200 towards the down payment.
She's lying.
And what about you?
Next Judge Judy.
Obviously, I just couldn't get through to her.
I'm the one that told the truth. I didn't doctor any documents as she did.
This is a guy who just got out of prison for murder for 15 years, shooting his girlfriend in the face.
I told her exactly about my criminal history.
He just said that he had a domestic violence and that he hasn't been drinking for 15 years.
I owe debt to no one. I have never been arrested since I've been out.
Oh, I was in fear. Still am. I just got a 10-year protective order on the guy.
I'm ready to put this behind me and move on with my life, and hopefully I'll never see her again.
The ex-con.
I was incarcerated from 2008 to 2018.
And the prison guard who fell for him.
You met Mr. Cortez while he was serving a prison sentence and where you were a corrections officer.
That is correct.
But doing more time together was a mistake.
He was mad that I was telling him that he needed to leave.
He pushed you. You fell backwards.
She was arguing with me. She put her hands on me.
He has...
Judge Judy. Terry Carlson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Fidencio Cortez, for several unpaid loans, unpaid rent, and an assault.
Order. All rise. It's case number 128 on the calendar in the matter of Carlson versus Cortez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Carlson, it is your claim that the defendant who was living with you for a period of time owes you for some loans, rent, and an assault.
Yes.
In which you were injured.
Yes.
According to you. Mr. Cortez says that there was never a loan agreement between you for any of the things that you did for him, and that you actually were the initiator of any arguments that occurred between you. Okay, now, you were a corrections officer, and you met Mr. Cortez while he was serving a prison sentence in the prison where you were a corrections officer.
Yes.
And you indicate that you left that job because you didn't want to have any conflict.
Correct.
In what year did you leave that job?
April of 2015.
And Mr. Cortez, from what year to what year were you incarcerated?
I was incarcerated from 2008 to 2018, Your Honor.
Okay, now, at some point after you were released, you and Miss Carlson you were living with her. Tell me when that was.
2018.
What month?
July.
And did you sign a lease?
We signed the lease in 2019 of January.
And when did you move out?
May.
When you say May, you said that quizzically. Did you move out in May?
Your Honor, I didn't move out. She called the law enforcement on me, and I got kicked out. Basically, I got booted out of my own residence.
Okay. Is it true that you called the police?
I didn't call the police that time. I actually went to the emergency room, and then he had moved his stuff out. I only got the protection order when for the next 2 weeks, even though his stuff wasn't there, he would pop in whenever he wanted to, all hours of the night.
Okay. So that May he was finally out.
May he was finally out.
Your Honor, but it's my residence.
Just a second.
I can do what I please.
Well, Mr. Cortez, you can't actually have it both ways. If you're not paying rent there, it's not your residence.
You're only seeing what you want to see, Your Honor.
What?
I know facts. You know, I'm sorry that I didn't bring any.
What I'm saying to you, sir, is if someplace is your residence because you're on a lease and you live there, you also pay rent there.
Yeah, but I can go stay at my friend's house and come back. That doesn't matter.
Well,
I can do as I please.
Well, you can, and I know that it's probably after 10 years, that's very nice. But Miss Carlson has herself, and I think she has a child that lives with her. Is that right?
She has two.
How old is her child?
She's got an 8-year-old and a 16.
Do they both, Mr. Cortez? Miss Carlson has clearly made a couple of errors in judgment, but it's unreasonable to subject children who are 8 and 16 to adults' unreasonable judgment.
All right.
Okay? But it would be almost a neglect if Miss Carlson didn't try to protect her children from seeing violence, whoever precipitated it, because you're not going to take charge of her children. She has to be with her kids.
So
do you understand that?
Can I ask you to answer me a question, Your Honor?
No,
and
why
didn't she move to one of her family members? I live 2.5 hours away from my family. She had family, that's friends and everybody that she could have just gone to, and instead she wants to kick me out on the streets. You know what I'm saying? She could have chose to get up and leave. That was my apartment.
Well, that's your perspective, Mr. Cortez. I don't have to answer your question, but I just want you to try to think about it for a little bit and think about the fact that you have an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old who go to school and have roots in a place for 5-6 months, and you're a single adult who can much easier negotiate a move than 3 people if you're not getting along. In any event, I don't have to get involved with that. I want to hear about this money that you allegedly gave him, when it was, and what it was for.
So in August of 2018, Mr. Cortez had a ticket of $700 that had accrued while he was incarcerated.
Were you living together at the time?
We weren't. We were reestablishing our relationship.
But you weren't living together?
No.
Okay.
So we went to the courthouse to pay that money. They said it had to be cash. He didn't inform me of that and said he didn't have cash and asked me to go to the ATM, which I did. I had already had some money on me, so I only withdrew $200, but brought the money back, and he promised to pay it back when he got on his feet. That was in order to get him a license so he could go to work.
Okay, so in total, how much money did you give him?
That time was $700 for his ticket.
Okay, now, what kind of ticket did you get, Mr. Cortez?
It was a speeding ticket that...
How long ago, before you were in prison?
It was 2007 when I got that speeding ticket, but being incarcerated for as long as I was.
Got it. Okay. Now, is it true that Ms. Carlson paid the ticket and fine of $700 for you?
No, Your Honor.
How much did she pay?
I recall that she only paid me, she offered to pay it because she knew I wanted to go.
I didn't ask you.
Hey, wait, what do you mean?
I didn't ask you
Hold up.
anything other than a number.
You don't need to get all rowdy with me.
Just a second.
Just calm
I
down.
knew how to do your job for which you
And
spent
all
the
I'm
last
asking
10 years
for
in
is some
prison.
respect.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
That's it. That's all I'm asking
Now,
is for some respect.
All I asked you was for a number.
500.
Great. So she gave you $500 towards a ticket and a fine.
Your Honor.
So you have proof of 7?
I had 500 on me. I have proof that I withdrew 200 more at the ATM next door.
Okay. Now, getting a ticket and a fine for speeding is something that you did. The fine is a fine that was a punishment for speeding. Somebody else can't pay that for you because that would be like having somebody else do jail time for you. We don't do that here. We don't say, well, if you're a poor person, then, you know, we'll pay you $5,000. I've got 18 months that I have to serve. You go serve my time for me. That was your punishment. The ticket and fine are your punishment. So if you have proof of $500, he says it was $500. That's what it is. And that was before you were living together.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you and your 2 children still living in the apartment?
We are.
Okay. And do you intend to stay there?
I have to. I don't have the money to move.
Very good. So you're going to stay there. And you don't want him to live with you?
No.
Okay. So forget about rent and forget about breaking a lease. You're still living there.
I wouldn't go there
Now,
anyways.
I'm speaking. Now, let's talk about the assault that you say was in April of 2016. Okay. First, I'd like to take a look at the medical.
The pictures are with the court paperwork, but it's what the hospital took.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like you to tell me your version of what happened on April 16th.
Mr. Cortez had been coming home whenever he wanted to, leave all hours of the night to go be with his friends whenever they called. So he was rarely home, and he wouldn't answer phone calls or anything. So we got into a fight when he came home, and I took
What
his...
time?
It was early evening.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, so you were mad.
I was mad.
Okay, got it. You were mad.
And I started to take all his stuff out of the room and throw it out into the hallway, and I told him that I would pack it for him, that he obviously didn't want to be there.
Okay, so you took his stuff. You were very angry. You threw his stuff out in the hallway, and?
So I went into the bathroom to grab a couple more things when he followed me, and he stood in the doorway of the bathroom. I asked him to move. He wanted to talk it out. I tried to squeeze past him.
How did you try to squeeze past him?
There was a gap between his body and the door frame, and so I tried to go under his arm and out the bathroom. And before I even knew it, both of his hands hit my chest, knocked me off my feet. I fell 3 feet backwards into the corner. Actually, the assault happened at 1 in the morning.
Just a second. Let's go back. He came home in the early evening. You had a verbal argument.
Correct.
And during that verbal argument, was that when you threw his stuff out in the hall?
That's when I started doing it, yes.
Did he leave?
He took off for a couple hours.
Smart. And then?
He came back.
What time?
It was around midnight.
When you came back at midnight, sir, where were all your clothes?
Everywhere. They were inside, outside. They were just everywhere.
Your Honor, there was nothing outside. It was all in the hallway of my apartment in front of our other bathroom. Nothing was outside.
And so he came home at midnight, and?
We still fought. He was mad that his things were out there. He was mad that I was telling him that he needed to leave. We started yelling at each other, and that's when he followed me to the bathroom. I tried to squeeze past him. That's when his hands hit my chest.
What do you mean his hands took your chest? What does that mean?
I must have blinked because I didn't even see him coming at me. And the next thing I know, both of his hands.
And he pushed you, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, he pushed me.
What you're telling me is he pushed you.
Yes.
And you fell backwards.
3 feet and hit my
Just
my
a second.
head. Yes.
He pushed you.
Yes.
You fell backwards and hit your head.
Yes.
That's the assault that we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. You want to give me your version, Mr. Cortez, of that evening?
I came home that evening. She was upset that I was going out. She felt that I should spend a little time that I did have when I wasn't working with her. And in a way, she's, you know, I agree with her, but I chose to do it with my friends. And this time I came home and she kind of like was a little bit more aggressive with it. And a lot of people don't think is that she used to be a CO. She took defense coordination classes.
Listen to me.
And
just tell me what happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Based upon what you just said to me, that you were in another county incarcerated, Mr. Cortez, just some motherly advice, sir.
Let me hear it.
You would have been much better off staying home with her than you would have been hanging around with your friends.
I believe that. Honestly, I believe that.
Real Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Terry Carlson says ex-boyfriend Fidencio Cortez owes for loans, rent, and an assault.
Just tell me what happened.
She was arguing with me. She put her hands on me.
How did she put her hands on you?
She was pushing me, trying to tell me to get out of her way. And I said, you know what? I said, this is some...
Get out of her way. Just, let's go back. I'm really trying...
Because she wanted to keep on grabbing my stuff out of the bathroom. She wanted to keep on grabbing more stuff and throwing the stuff out.
Out of the bathroom?
Yeah, and I wasn't going to just...
Blocking her from moving out. Now, when you say she put her hands on you, I want to know exactly how that happened, because now I understand that you pushed her and she fell backwards.
Yes.
Okay, but I want you to tell me whether or not the plaintiff put her hands on you first.
Yes, she did, Your Honor.
I'd like you to tell me how she did that.
She wanted to continue to gather my stuff, and she was trying to push me out of the way, putting her hands on my chest. And I stood my ground, and she kept on
pushed
doing
her back.
And I pushed her back.
Wait, is that what you're telling me, that you pushed her back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that what you're telling me honestly?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get a restraining order?
I did.
How long is it in effect for?
1 year.
Did you go to that hearing, Mr. Cortez? Did you attend that hearing?
I didn't.
Did not?
I was already incarcerated for something else, Your Honor.
Are you telling me that you couldn't attend the hearing for the protective order because you were incarcerated for...
At the time, I was in another county, and they don't transport. So since I've been released, yes, I have gone and signed the protection order. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cortez, just some motherly advice, sir.
Let me hear it.
You would have been much better off staying home with her than you would have been hanging around with your friends.
I believe that. I honestly believe that.
What I'm telling you is, based upon what you just said to me, that you were in another county incarcerated, you would have been better off saying, I've got 2 nice kids, she has a job, maybe I'll start over again with...
I ruined that.
Yeah.
I ruined that, so I got to live with my consequences.
That would be on you. In any event, you owe her the $500, which you acknowledge that she paid for your fine. Now, I am not giving the plaintiff a pass on taking your stuff and vandalizing your property because, Ms. Carlson, as a corrections officer, you should know a little bit about the law.
Yes.
You see someone vandalizing your property, you have the right to try to stop them.
Right, but I'm
just
causing damage.
Just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Well, if you weren't in a relationship and you had been paying $450 a month rent, and the story that you just gave me is that your roommate left drug paraphernalia out and you got evicted, well, then you didn't pay anybody rent. Why should she pay your rent?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Terry Carlson says ex-boyfriend Fidencio Cortez owes for loans, rent, and an assault.
You have the right to try to stop him. You were vandalizing his property. Now, if you were vandalizing his property and he took out a knife and he stabbed you, he can't do that. That's an overkill. Vandalize his property. And the fact that he pushed you and you fell and you hurt your head, I see that your Medicaid covered all of your expenses, so you didn't have any expenses. You also exercised not such good judgment because Mr. Cortez, who turns out to be mild-mannered once he takes a deep breath, I mean, he's mild-mannered with me, but he has an aggressive side, right? But he was smart enough, at least on the 16th of April, to know his aggressive side because you got into a fight and he took 2 hours and left to cool off, which was very good judgment.
Thank you.
I would have stayed out permanently because you weren't ready to be a family guy.
It's true.
Got it? You owe a $500 judgment
Your Honor,
for the plaintiff.
I have rent that I paid for 6 months.
We're done.
Parties are excused when they step out.
I think that when she was a CO, she was...
I was trying to help him out get on his feet because we had waited 3 years to be together.
in a power of authority over me at the time. And
I loved him. We fell in love.
she's trying to still have that role in my life, and I ain't having it.
He just turned out to be somebody that I thought he was different.
Hey, sometimes you just have to lose. You gotta lose it, man. You gotta let him go.
I feel like I was really used.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ross versus
Ross is suing her ex-boyfriend, 22-year-old Duncan Fullerton, for rent and utilities and a loan.
Miss Ross, the defendant is your ex-boyfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you claim he owes you some money.
A little bit.
You and the defendant lived together for a little bit because you got evicted from your apartment?
Yes, Your Honor.
In what month?
I want to say January, very early January.
Of this year?
Yes.
And why were you evicted? For non-payment of rent?
No.
Why?
My roommate left some non-legal property on my patio, and the tenants actually informed me they were coming to show the other room that was empty at the time, so I said, no problem, you know, feel free to go into there, and it was on the patio. He just left it out in plain sight, so I got a 24-hour notice.
And is that when you moved in with Miss Ross?
I want to say it was a couple days after that, yes.
How long had you been dating?
We never actually were dating.
Well,
it never became a relationship. It was never defined as a relationship.
It wasn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's interesting. How much were you paying in rent in the other place?
$450.
How long did you live at Miss Ross's place?
I want to say total what I slept there was 14 days.
From when to when?
So that would probably be January 12th about, and I moved out by February, mid-February, probably the 15th.
Okay, so you were there in January?
Yes.
And you were there part of February?
Very early February, yes.
And you were paying $450 a month rent in your old place?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you should have to pay her rent.
Yeah, if I
Just
actually
a
lived there.
second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You just told me that you lived there from January the 12th until February the 15th. That's a month.
I wasn't a resident. I wasn't on the lease.
I don't care whether you were a resident or on the lease. Listen to me. If you were in a relationship and you moved in with your girlfriend for a month, I would say, listen, I don't deal with that. But you're the one who said to me we weren't in a relationship.
That's different.
Well, if you weren't in a relationship and you had been paying $450 a month rent, and the story that you just gave me is that your roommate left drug paraphernalia out and you got evicted, well, then you didn't pay anybody rent. Why should she pay your rent?
I didn't say she should pay my rent.
What?
I never said she should pay my rent.
Well, but you didn't pay rent when you were there.
I shouldn't have to pay rent for 14 days of someone helping me out and them taking advantage of me.
What's next?
What's next is that he stayed there. I asked him if he wanted to contribute to rent because for the first week or so I said, you can stay here, but you've got to pay rent.
That's not true, Your Honor.
I don't want to hear you interrupt her again. Do you understand? Try to control yourself.
So I have it here where he said that he would pay rent.
How much is your rent?
It was third. The bottom texts are there. I asked him how much he wanted to pay in rent.
$280.
Yes.
That's what you said.
That's what I said, yes.
Yes, $280. Okay, very good. What else, Miss Ross, in this non-relationship?
He'd pawned his phone, and I paid for the payment in order to get that back to him, which was $100.
Why?
Because I paid her cat's vet bill.
Cost what?
I paid her cat's vet bill, and she felt bad and was doing me a favor.
Shh. Okay, tell me what she felt. Did he pay a vet bill for your cat?
Yes.
Great. He owes you $280 for rent. That's what he agreed to. Judge for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'd given him notices in order to get it paid, and he kept saying he would get it paid, and he never did, and kept making excuses.
Because I promised her a lot of things, that is true, but she also promised me a lot of things.
Because he said that he seemed to be in a hard place, and I wanted to help him out.